During the recent U.S. government shutdown, the funding status of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, became a point of contention and exception to standard shutdown protocol. Typically, all federal employees, including accepted essential personnel like those at the FBI, must work without pay until Congress appropriates funds and the shutdown ends. However, the administration at the time made an unprecedented move, announcing that FBI special agents would continue to receive their paychecks despite the funding lapse. This directive was framed as prioritizing law enforcement and national security personnel alongside the active duty military. Crucially, this payment did not extend to the entire workforce. Essential support staff, including analysts and professional staff, were still required to report for duty without their regular pay. This differential payment created a financial and morale disparity within the Bureau, with the FBI Agents Association acknowledging the pay for agents, but simultaneously urging Congress to end the shutdown to ensure all personnel were compensated and operations were fully funded. Analysis: the exception and the hidden strain. The decision to pay FBI agents during the shutdown was a significant political and administrative maneuver, creating an exception to the Anti-Deficiency Act, which generally prohibits federal agencies from incurring obligations like payroll without an appropriation. The administration was forced to identify and reallocate unspecified, leftover, or no-year funds to cover the agents' salaries, a move that often faces legal scrutiny. From an analytical standpoint, the FBI is categorized as an accepted agency within the Department of Justice, DOJ. Under the DOJ's contingency plan, roughly 90% of its workforce, including nearly all FBI personnel, are deemed essential to the protection of human life and property and are therefore required to continue working. The central problem exposed by this exception is the fragmentation of the FBI workforce. By only paying special agents, the administration acknowledged the tactical, public-facing component of the Bureau, while overlooking the critical strategic and investigative support provided by analysts, linguists, and technical specialists. Modern investigations, spanning cyber threats, financial crimes, and terrorism, are highly dependent on the analytical and technical staff. When these personnel work without pay, it introduces severe financial stress, distraction, and a decline in morale, ultimately degrading the quality and speed of investigations. Reasons and consequences. Reasons for the differential payment. 1. Political prioritization. The move was largely political, aiming to insulate high-visibility, frontline law enforcement, and military personnel from the immediate financial pain of the shutdown. This minimizes public outcry and political pressure that typically mounts as essential, unpaid workers protest. 2. Maintaining frontline stability. Ensuring agents are paid helps maintain stability in critical, active investigations and operations, preventing agents from being distracted by personal financial emergencies. 3. National security focus. The FBI's mission to address imminent threats to national security provides a strong justification for designating its personnel as essential, and in this case, finding a way to pay them. Consequences for the FBI. 4. Erosion of internal equity and morale. The most immediate consequence is the creation of a two-tiered system where special agents are compensated while their support staff are not. This damages team cohesion and fairness within the Bureau. 5. Operational curtailment. Despite agents being paid, the overall shutdown of appropriated funds severely hampers non-essential but vital support functions. As highlighted by the FBI Agents Association, a prolonged shutdown forces the curtailment of training and hiring, essential to maintaining the workforce's skills and capacity. Travel and surveillance, hindering active field operations and coordination with partners. Informant payments. In previous shutdowns, the FBI's inability to pay confidential human sources, informants, led to the freezing of sensitive long-term investigations, weakening the Bureau's intelligence gathering capability. 6. Long-term recruitment and retention. The financial precarity associated with working for an essential agency that may, at any time, require months of unpaid labor can negatively impact the recruitment and retention of high-caliber analysts and technical specialists. Prediction and solutions. Prediction. Future government shutdowns will see continued pressure on the executive branch to find non-standard ways to pay all accepted national security and law enforcement personnel. However, Due to the legal complexity and the risk of diverting funds unlawfully, these ad hoc solutions will remain temporary and subject to legal challenge. The fundamental instability will persist until a legislative solution is enacted. Furthermore, future contingency plans will be forced to acknowledge the critical, inseparable role of analysts and support staff. Solutions. 1. Legislative fix for all accepted personnel. Congress should pass permanent, standalone legislation that guarantees payment for all federal employees deemed accepted and required to work during a lapse in appropriations. This would eliminate the need for ad hoc administrative workarounds and provide financial certainty. 2. Mandatory funding mechanisms. The Office of Management and Budget, OMB, and Congress should establish an automatic, sequestered funding mechanism that immediately releases a predetermined level of pay for all essential personnel upon a shutdown. This would ensure continuity for functions like law enforcement and border security. 3. Enhanced operational contingencies. The FBI itself should develop a robust emergency cash reserve for non-payroll operational expenses, particularly for payments to confidential human sources and emergency procurement, which are essential to prevent the collapse of active investigations during a funding lapse. 4. Equity in categorization. The FBI and the DOJ must internally review and revise their accepted employee definitions to fully recognize the operational essentiality of analysts, linguists, and technical support staff, ensuring they are treated with the same priority as special agents.